Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to Fallout, where we're going to be taking a look at the official Season 2 trailer of Fallout. Our very first shot that we get to see here are the Kings more ghoulified. We kind of got to see that with the first trailer. Why the Kings are ghoulified, we don't know just yet. There was no ghoulified Kings in regular Vegas, so something bad must have happened to them, or at least this group of Kings anyway. We also get to see a giant rad scorpion, which does look really cool. The 3D effects to this actually look quite good. And it seems to be eating a bark scorpion as well, so I'm assuming we're going to get a whole lot more wildlife. We also get a rad roach attacking our favorite doctor here, I guess. Or at least Thaddeus' doctor, which we kind of got to see Thaddeus in this too, so that should be kind of interesting because it does look like he's looking a little bit rougher than he previously was. It was stated that he was going to be a ghoul, or he was becoming a ghoul by Season 1. You kind of seen that once he got the crossbow bolt shot into his neck. I wasn't convinced about that, and I'm still not entirely convinced of that either. Especially the way that he's kind of turning. So I would have thought he would be turning it more into like a super mutant, and maybe they're still going with that. Although, with the new things that you can kind of see, this weird mouth that he has on his neck, I'm also thinking that maybe this could be from the vats from Fallout 1, similar to how Harold and the Master were changed into something different, where they're not quite really ghouls or super mutants, they're kind of their own thing. Some sort of special mutant. That's what it could be. I guess he could also be turning into like a centaur too. I didn't really think about that until now. But if they want to go for more body horror, I guess they could turn him into a centaur, which would be absolutely terrifying. After this in the trailer, we do get to see a couple more establishing shots of just Vegas in general and just the Mojave, which does look pretty cool. We also get a couple other locations like this one where you can see Hank coming to it. This seems to be somewhere in Vegas itself. It doesn't really look like any place that I can think of from Vegas. Closest would be something that like House has set up. So we'll see where that goes. We also do get to see Camp Golf being seemingly abandoned at a certain point from the NCR. Although the NCR flags are still here. So I feel like we're still going to get a strong NCR presence in Vegas, which does make sense, although I kind of figured we'd get more of a strong presence of them in the first season since we were in California. But either way, we do get to at least see this. It looks like this has been abandoned. We also seen in the previous trailer that Novak seems to be abandoned at a certain point as well. You can also see by this screenshot that we are going to get a little bit more of the vault. And to me, this does look very similar to like Vault 22. That's the vault in New Vegas that has the spore people in it and the spore plants. So maybe we'll get to see some creepy plants in this too. I'm kind of looking forward to that. That's where you can go and like get the mantis eggs for Lucy, different Lucy. And you can also get like the unique laser rifle there. So I'm wondering if that will actually appear in this too. If so, that'd be really cool. I'm just basing this off of the plants that I see here. This could be a completely unrelated vault. We then get a little bit more backstory with what's going on with the Brotherhood, where it seems like they're talking about a civil war and that a war is coming. We also hear this voice too.
Well then, you're gonna need friends. There's a war coming.
Which at first, I was thinking this would be really cool if this is Marcus's voice. I don't think it quite is Marcus's voice though, but I feel like Marcus would be a really good introduction to super mutants in the Fallout series, especially for anybody that's just watching the series and hasn't played any of the games, doesn't know any of the lore to it. That would be really great. I think though this voice is probably the modulated power armor voice though, since we did hear that in Fallout Season 1. But they do talk about a civil war coming here with the Brotherhood. Which faction of the Brotherhood this is that they're fighting against one another, we don't really know. It would make the most sense if it was like West Coast and Midwest Brotherhood. Although the Brotherhood in Season 1 we've seen work more similar to like the Midwest or the East chapters, not so much like the West chapters. So we'll kind of see how that goes. There's not really too much to comment on right now because I just don't know. It would be kind of cool if they do acknowledge more of the Midwest chapter though and make Tactics more than just like semi-canon for the Fallout series, because Tactics is kind of a cool game. Doesn't get as much love as I would like it to. Little note here, we get to see Hank with his Pimp Boy 3 billion. I love the little touch to that too. Of course, he would have the golden Pip-Boy out of everybody, but it's really fitting that it is in Vegas. And then we also get to see the residents from Vault 31 actually heading out into the world. So this is probably Norm that gets to wander out here. Seems like they're still probably in California, still probably right outside of LA. which I know canonically doesn't really make the most sense since like the Master was in that area too for the timeline, but we're not going to talk about all of that right now. We also get to see a Brotherhood member fighting a Securitron here, which is pretty cool, as well as you do get to see the face change with the Securitron as well. That is different because if they have the army face, at least in the game of Fallout New Vegas, that means that the Platinum ship did arrive at Mr. House and it has upgraded the Securitrons at the very least. This could be hinting towards Mr. House actually winning the Hoover Dam War overall, or it being more of like a stalemate. I don't know if we're actually going to get like a definitive who won which ending we got in New Vegas. But if this is anything to go off of, it does seem to be hinting towards more of House, as well as the idea that we just have House here anyway. We also get to see a couple shots of Lucy having some different guns too, which is pretty cool. She does seem to have the radium rifle from Fallout 4, which I really like. The radium rifle is one of the few guns that I think looks really good in Fallout 4, mostly because it's based off of just a very obscure gun. So I'm a big fan of that, as well as we get to see her with a lever action shotgun. It seems to be modeled pretty much the same way it is in Fallout New Vegas as well, with the stock cut short and the barrel cut a little bit shorter too, kind of going for that like Terminator look. Then we get to see Cooper and House talking with one another. It was already hinted that they do know about one another, and that does seem to hint that House is still alive too, which you don't necessarily have to kill House in any of the endings to Fallout New Vegas, but you could. So this could be a recording of him, this could be House still alive. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, we also get to see Lucy with a power fist here. It looks like the power fist from Fallout 4. I'm glad that they actually put it here. And then we get to see this big overhead shot, which is the Legion camp. You can just tell by all the tents that we have here, something's exploding there. And then we also get this shot of Macaulay Culkin also being part of Caesar's Legion. Now, I seen this on Reddit a couple of months ago, not this exact scene, but there was at least like a fan theory saying that he would probably be with the Legion because at least in like one screenshot, it kind of looked like the back of his head. I wasn't so sure about that. I figured maybe they would cast him to be like Ganon because he looks a whole lot like Ganon. And this, I guess, could still be Ganon since also in Fallout New Vegas, you could sell Ganon to the Legion as a slave. I guess he could have been captured as that. He could also just be a legionary though with the Caesar's Legion, so hard to say exactly what his role or title is going to be, but hey, we got Macaulay Culkin in here, so that's pretty awesome. We also get this little hint too, where we see Hank putting a bomb on a rat. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the bomb colors that Elijah was working on, though, either. Which does maybe mean that we might get at least hints of Elijah around here. I doubt we're going to actually see Elijah, but Elijah does like blowing people up. He really loves his bomb colors, so I wouldn't be surprised if this links back to him in some way. Or even if it's just hinted at. New Vegas, there's actually kind of an obscure reference to Elijah that you can find in Freeside, where you can find somebody who's dead, their head's been blown up from the color, and that was somebody that Elijah put the color on to go and get the Sea Finder, so that he could have that as his like wonder weapon once they actually got Helios 1 up and running. That was before the NCR came and attacked, and then he abandoned that and ran off to Big Mountain. Which, I mean, we don't have any reference of this in Big Mountain. We did see Sinclair, who was a representative of Big Mountain in Season 1, which is really cool. We actually, I guess, got to see Sinclair, potentially, if that actually was the real Sinclair. And maybe we'll get a little bit more hints of like the Sierra Madre or Big Mountain or something like that. That would be really cool too. We also get to see a shot here too of Maximus in different power armor. It seems to be scavenged power armor that the NCR was using, since you have the NCR helmet, but you got more of the regular power armor chest piece and everything. And he's also fighting a Deathclaw. They did already hint that we were going to be seeing Deathclaws in this season, which is pretty cool. And then the very last shot that we get in this series is actually them in Freeside with Lucy, Cooper, and Dogmeat. So that's pretty cool. We get to see Gamora in the background, so we'll probably be taking place somewhere in one of the casinos, if not all the casinos, of Gamora the Tops, the Ultra Lux, and maybe the Lucky 38. More than likely the Lucky 38, since we do know Cooper's going there, if nothing else. We also get to see Mick and Ralph's over here too, which is kind of cool. I just noticed that. Maybe we'll get some references to Mick and Ralph. And those are all the major things that I noticed throughout this trailer. I'm definitely looking forward to Fallout Season 2. This is coming out December 17th, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. And this isn't going to be dropping the same way that the previous season was, where they just dropped the whole thing at once. This one is going to be dropping one episode like each week, and I believe it's going from like the second week of December to like the second week of February, so about 8 episodes, I think. The Fallout TV series was actually a pretty like standout series in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. I'm a real big fan of Fallout, and I think they hit the vibe of Fallout really, really well. So I'm excited to see what they do in New Vegas. Vegas is my favorite of the Fallout games. And we can only hope that, hopefully with the release of this, or potentially with the final episode of Season 2, I'm really hoping it's the first episode, though, that we get like at least an announcement of like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas remaster. If not, them just dropping it like they did the Oblivion remaster. Come on, Bethesda, everybody wants these. Just make like Fallout New Vegas run better. Just put it on a 64-bit engine. Modders will fix everything else about it. I want to play a more stable version of New Vegas. Either way, tell me your thoughts on the season. What are you looking forward to? How did you like the first season? Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.